When Alagammal passed away, Chinna Swami was among those who carried her body down the hill and brought it to the thorny bushy place which is now Ramanasramam. With help from the others, he buried her body in the Samadhi. Kavya Kantha insisted that Chinna Swami perform puja for it. As was customary, a lingam was placed over her body, but while this is usually taken off after some time, they let it remain there. Kavya Kantha said, "You must perform puja with all rituals because this is not just a tomb, it is a temple. Since Bhagwan has liberated your mother and she is no more an ordinary person, she is God." Kavya Kantha named the temple Matru Bhuteshwara, meaning God in the form of the mother. In this way, Chinna Swami was influenced to stay there and do puja every day, while Bhagwan stayed on in Skandashram. One day, Chinna Swami sent word to Bhagwan that he was going to make dosas the next day. It was considered a delicacy, and he said he would bring it to Skandashram. Early the next morning, Chinna Swami heard a sweet voice asking, "Is there any food for an atithi?" Atithi means a wayfarer or a guest. It was none other than Bhagwan, identifying himself as a guest. The mother's shrine was the nucleus for the present Ramanashramam, and Bhagwan stayed there, never as the owner but as a guest until his last day. It was always someone else who managed the ashram. In 1929, after Seshadri Swami passed away, some lawyers told Bhagwan that there were a lot of litigations that had to be managed. They advised that someone should be officially appointed as the sole manager of Ramanasramam. Everyone wanted Nayana to don this mantle. But Bhagwan turned to Nayana and said, "It seems Pichai wants to do this. Let him become the manager and take the burden on himself." Many devotees thought Nayana would have been an ideal manager, as he himself was a spiritual giant. But time proved Bhagwan's perfect selection. Niranjanananda Swami, being a person without any spiritual opinion, showed his strong will in the ashram's management. Kavya Kantha told all his devotees, "It is Bhagwan's injunction and we should support it." From that day on, Nayana's disciples always supported Chinna Swami in his role as manager. In 1930, Bhagwan was asked to execute a will which stated that the family of Niranjanananda Swami would manage the material aspects of the ashram and that it would have no spiritual successor to Bhagwan. Chinna Swami was very austere, disciplined and strict. It is this strictness which earned him a bad name. However, he never cared about that. He was so austere that he never spent a single penny from the ashram funds for his personal use. He had two friends, devotees of Bhagwan of course, who provided for his little needs like tooth powder, hair oil, betel leaves, betel nut, and an umbrella. At that time, he was the sole manager, the Sarvadhikari, managing all the funds with no board or trust to verify the accounts. Yet he never compromised on his honesty. The old devotee said he was so austere that when his clothes tore, he mended them himself and wore them again. He could have bought new clothes, but he would wait for months until some wealthy man came and distributed clothes to the residents of the ashram. Even then, he would take only one cloth for his personal use. Long before anyone was employed, he was the sole cook at the ashram and attended to all the ashram needs. These are all facts reported by those who had earlier complained against him. Once, Jackie, Bhagwan's favorite dog, was gravely injured while fighting a pig. Its intestines were exposed and it lay in immense pain. It was Chinna Swami who carried Jackie in a basket on his head to the veterinary hospital and had it attended to. Jackie recovered and lived many more years. By 1938, Chinna Swami needed assistance in the ashram, so he sent word to his son, my father, and the whole family to join him. I was 2 years old when my father brought me to Ramanasramam. Chinna Swami was just as strict with his son. He never favored him. So much so, my father was always disappointed and disgruntled with him. When gifts like cycles were given to the ashram, my father would ask for one, only to be refused by Chinna Swami. If my father pulled a long face, he would tell him, "Venkato, we are commanded by Bhagwan to manage this ashram. We are his slaves and have to do this generation after generation. But we do not have any special rights over this place. We should dedicate ourselves to do service with the attitude of a dog guarding a haystack. The dog will not eat the hay, and it will not allow the stray cattle to eat the hay either."
My father, T.N. Venkataraman, followed this instruction meticulously, and so did my two brothers and I. The third generation now manages the ashram, and it is Chinna Swami's blessing that generation after generation looks after the ashram not like dictators or sole managers, but like dogs guarding a haystack. Chinna Swami rubbed many people the wrong way with his blunt manner. But as many devotees say, those stories must be looked at impartially. It is important that we see both sides of the story. Chinna Swami's problem was a practical one. If all the residents preferred to sit with Bhagwan in the hall, how could the daily routine activities of the ashram, cooking, gardening, managing the store, letter correspondence, receiving visitors, cash transactions, printing of books, and general upkeep of safety measures to protect the property, buildings, and residents be carried out? So he stipulated the strict condition that one should assist the ashram management in some form if one wanted to stay inside the ashram. People who refused to comply with this condition were asked to leave the ashram. It is to be noted that those who were hurt by Chinna Swami's disciplinary action spoke only about his harsh treatment but not about this reasonable stipulation put by him. Muruganar, Ramaswamy Pillai, Chadwick, Vishwanatha Swami, Kunju Swami, Devaraja Modeliyar, Suri Nagamma and Munagala Vinkata Ramayya were a few of the old devotees in the long list of Chinna Swami's victims.